Hello guys! Every day I keep repeating that Russia is a global threat. And no, I'm not exaggerating as a Ukrainian. Just have a look at what they did to another civilian airliner from Azerbaijan that was crossing the airspace of the Russian Federation, was most likely shot down by Russian air defense near Grozny, and they did nothing to save the people and actually advise them to travel further, not letting them land and actually save all of these people. Despite all of these obstacles, the pilots perhaps were super professional and managed to land, saving not all people, but 28 survived. But most importantly, the plane survived the crash, and now special investigation team will work to analyze what happened to it in the skies above Grozny. This clearly reminds us about another Russian crime against the civilians in 2014, when they shot down MH17 with 298 people. They are also victims of Putin. And if back in 2014 the world reacted, maybe we didn't have all of these thousands of lost lives. This indecisiveness cost us too much. My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and if you want to see the defeat and demilitarization of Russia and also protect yourself against their hybrid warfare and such actions as in the skies above Russia, subscribe. We discuss all of that on the channel. You know, Russia is this very dark, violent champion in a number of civilian airplanes that they have destroyed, starting from the USSR period and finishing in the modern times. I have just reminded you about the great tragedy of MH17. And right now we have another case, and all because of Russian aggression and Russian negligence. So what happened yesterday above Chechnya? Russians keep pretending that war did not return back to their territory. And they try to hire these North Korean soldiers not to mobilize, and they keep using the skies above for various aviation purposes. You know, in Ukraine, there are no civilian aircraft since the start of the full-scale invasion. And even in 2014, many of the routes were limited because of this Russian invasion of Ukraine in Donbass region and in the Crimea. And right now, a civilian aircraft was flying above Chechnya, which is a republic within the Russian Federation. By the way, we have lots of good videos explaining very complex history of this country that one day will become free from Kadyrov and Russia's influence, and I will connect it here. But this Azerbaijani aircraft was flying above the Russian territory, and most likely at that moment they decided to shoot it down because they mixed it with a drone or some other activity. And Russian air defense is known to be very non-professional. They are not prepared to defend their territory. They prepare aggressive actions. They train soldiers to invade, loot, but they don't know how to defend themselves. And actually, what happened in Kursk reminded us about that very well. Now they have North Korean backup, but it doesn't help them to liberate these territories. So the same, first of all, they lack air defense, but when they have it, they use it in a very absurd manner, and there are cases how they ruin their own territories in Belgorod with their bombs or their air defense. Similar things happened in the temporarily occupied Crimea and now in Grozny. So perhaps they shot down this aircraft, but it is not the worst thing in this story, because the plane was not destroyed by that missile and kept flying. And the closest airport was in Makhachkala, really not far away. But what Russians did, they ordered pilots to fly to Kazakhstan, tremendously changing their route and actually signing them a death sentence, because the plan was they will fall down in the Sea of Caspian. Subscribe to see Russia punished for all these crimes against people. And please share these videos on your social media platforms to help people know the truth. So instead of emergency landing organized in Chechnya, they order a plane to go to Kazakhstan, hoping that the plane will not survive the trip and will disappear in the waters of the sea. And no one will see that Russian air defense is to blame. Just look at this Russian logics. It reminds me, by the way, about Chernobyl catastrophe, where the main tragedy was not the destruction of the reactor, but the reaction of the government to that and hiding the truth from people. And this is the very same thing that happens right now. And the president of Azerbaijan realized that, and he was actually planning a trip to Moscow and turned his aircraft not to land in Moscow, very angry at the actions of Putin. You know, actions speak louder than words. And now, pilots managed to land this aircraft despite Russian plans. 39 people, it seems to me, were lost because of Russia. 28 survived. And there are witnesses, same as the plane itself, and it has clear evidence of shrapnel debris from a missile. And there were actually one witness talking about that for Turkish news. And this is another crime committed by non-professional, very violent, disrespectful to human life Russian army. Because every normal military group considers such an option and can actually see the difference between a huge modern airplane and a drone. But Russians, they got used to disrespect human life. They don't count their losses and they hope that other nations have similar attitudes. But luckily, no. And I think this will lead to the serious problems, not just in Azerbaijan-Russia relations, but also between Turkey and Russia. And I feel very sorry that these innocent people lost their lives just because they are too close to Russia, same as we are. It is a great tragedy of many nations to border with Russian Empire. And when it collapses, this will be a very happy day for all of us. And I personally believe that before the dissolution of Russia, no peace and security, lasting peace and security is possible in a very big part of the world. And you see, it's not just about Ukraine, it's also about Asia, Central Asia, Africa, and believe me, America. And you know what makes me feel a bit optimistic that the evil will be punished in this particular case is that Kazakhstan is quite independent in many of the decisions that they take, and I hope that together with Turkey, for example, they will investigate this case very precisely, and they will illustrate who is guilty in this catastrophe, who is guilty in targeting a civilian plane. And it will be the very same aggressor, it will be the very same murderer as of MH17, which was downed by Russian Buk missile that belonged to one of the Kursk brigades. Right now, Ukraine demilitarizes Kursk and to some extent serves the justice. Please subscribe to see the justice served to Putin himself and his criminal gang. Join me on X, Threads, Discord, and Instagram, and Blue Sky community is growing really quickly. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. But most importantly, thank you for standing with Ukraine. Warmest greetings and all my love from Kyiv, the bravest capital in the world. Slava Ukraini!